We turned the AC off to film this video. It's hot in here.
It's like we're in Mexico. Hi, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jane.
And this is Bitch and Bach,
where we bitch and talk about this week's episodes of Bachelor in Paradise.
Welcome to week 3, parts 4 and 5.
So much happened.
A crazy amount of stuff.
In what was probably 2 days on this beach in Mexico.
Apparently this is week 3, but we're only on day 3. They've been in paradise for 3 days.
Colton at one point is like, oh, like all the stuff that's happened over the time that we've been together in paradise. And then seconds later, someone is refers to the fact that it's the 3rd day. So at the end of this episode, at the end of episode 5, the Tuesday night episode, they've probably spent a collective 6 days together. And they seem like they've spent months together. And I'm just, I don't trust it.
We get a reminder that at the end of last week's episode, Chris and Jordan were making bird calls because once again, Chris is the silly goose.
I said it was the one thing I wanted was to never hear the word goose again, and I heard it so many times this episode. Chris Harrison is encouraging it. At the rose ceremony when he was bringing in Chris, he was like, and next, Chris the goose? You're not doing your job, Chris Harrison.
Alright, so the first thing that really happens is that Tia pulls Chris aside, and he's being super aggressive. And then he says that Tia makes no sense.
She was just calling him on his bullshit, and he's like, I had already broken up with you. And ugh, I just couldn't stand it.
And then he keeps bringing up Colton, but he wants to consider other options. Colton wants to consider other options. And so Chris is like, that's terrible of Colton. But then Chris was like, I want to consider other options. I'm not really sure where anyone's at this point.
That was this whole episode is you thinking there was a couple and then one of them cheating and then both of them being like, but we always wanted to consider other options. This episode made me feel lots of times.
Crystal doesn't know how she feels and doesn't want to be involved. Right now, Crystal's the only person who makes sense in this entire situation.
Bibiana makes sense. Although I will say about Crystal being extremely relatable is anytime they cut to her holding her margarita. And it was always morning. It's early in the morning, we don't know how we feel. I don't know what to do.
And then Tia says that she needs tequila, and honestly, we all do.
And then Chris says that he needs tequila. And I think Crystal says it too, so I was like, I need tequila.
Crystal is into Chris. Why? No one knows.
I hate him so much.
Honestly, there's literally nothing attractive about him at all.
He's so sweaty.
He's really not attractive.
No.
He's no good personality traits. He's just causing problems, and he won't stop calling himself a silly goose.
Is anything about him silly or goose-like? Let me know in the comments. I'm confused.
Bibiana gives Colton the talk. Which was so good. She was like, Colton, hey, guess what? I've always wanted someone to come up to me and be like, hey, I'm in love with you. Tia is in love with you. What are you doing? And then he's like,
Bibiana for Bachelorette. Join my campaign. Tweet it. Bibiana.
We cut to Tia, who says she kind of wants to date Colton. It's so unexpected. Out of the blue.
And she was like, I know all these reasons why Colton is bad for me. But I kind of am remembering all the good things about Colton. And then she just looked at the camera and went, help! You do need help! They needed to just both leave and go figure out their relationship elsewhere.
But then we had to watch it. Jacqueline shows up, and she's cute, and we remember her. Ari's season.
She left Ari because she wanted to go finish school. She went to grad school. We were all like, yes, leave the man, get your education, go put yourself first. And then she goes back here and I'm like, wait, what happened to you and your education and your career?
Bibiana says that paradise is stinky and sweaty.
Crazy lip sweaty.
Tia's crying again. Jacqueline wants to go maybe ask Colton on a date. Jacqueline gets a date card when she first comes and she goes to talk to Colton and Tia starts crying because she's kind of wants to date Colton. But then Jacqueline asks Colton and he says no. Yeah. As if we didn't know that he kind of wants to date Tia.
I saw an interview with Annalise where they said they sent Jacqueline towards Colton because they were all literally so sick of the Tia and Colton drama that they were like, let's get Colton to date literally anybody else. Jacqueline, go date Colton. And it didn't work.
Colton maybe wants to leave once again, and it's annoying.
He should go. At what point Tia says that she has all her eggs in Colton's basket and Colton doesn't have a basket. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. They constantly are saying these metaphors that make no sense.
So Jacqueline takes Kenny instead of Colton, and they have a good time. There's some fireworks, they kiss a little bit, and then Annalise is upset, and we don't know why. She's suddenly into Kenny, and which is out of nowhere.
Apparently they were friends the whole time, but it didn't seem like they just like would hang out in the pool together and like chat a lot. I think Kenny this episode, he's just like a guy who's not in a relationship, who's not taken, who's very non-threatening. So all of the girls who just didn't have secure roses were like, let me go for Kenny because he's nice and like maybe will give me a rose, is what I think happened. And it just came across like Kenny was the player this episode that was getting every girl, any person that will help them stay. Not that Kenny's not great, I like Kenny.
Oh, Kenny takes his shirt off then, and then they kiss. Annalise and Kenny's like, it's hot outside. Let me take my shirt off.
Yeah.
And then they kiss.
Oh, and then later he was talking to someone about Edgar Allan Poe, and they're like, look at how intellectual we are, talking about Edgar Allan Poe, A Bachelor in Paradise. Everyone really knows Edgar Allan Poe, but like I read him in middle school probably. You're not an intellectual for liking Edgar Allan Poe.
Colton and Tia talk again, and he's going to choose her.
Can we not hear from you ever again?
And then we start to get to the rose ceremony, and Jordan shows up in his outfit, which apparently everyone is offended by. To describe his outfit, it is just a vest and suit pants that are red with Hawaiian flowers. It's really not that bad. There's really nothing wrong with it. Jenna likes it, and Jenna and Jordan are still going strong, so we're not really sure why a whole chunk of this episode was dedicated to how terrible Jordan's suit was when it really wasn't that terrible.
Probably not the worst outfit I've seen on this show. Like, it's a male romper. I'm like, no, it's not. It's two separate pieces. Oh, I love when he said, I'm confident, I'm effing floral. Like, yeah, you are. You're confident and floral.
Astrid and Kevin Lady and the Tramp a sausage. And then Jenna asked Jordan to show her walks, and he does, and she loves it.
I think Jordan might be a bad model. He's so sweet. I mean, until later. But he was like, you want me to show you my walks? He was so turned on by her being like, let me see you be a model. He was like, yes. But then when he was doing it, it just looked really awkward. Oh, wow.
And Caroline and John are cute again. But then Jubilee gives John a massage. John is the Bachelor in
Paradise. He's killing it. Jubilee had him take off his shirt and she's like, and I wrote that Jubilee and I had the same reaction to John's body. He's a ripped nerd. They're a rare breed, I guess.
Viviana tries to get a rose from Kenny, and then Kenny's a player, kind of. Then Jacqueline says that she's 27 and thinks she's too old.
I'm 27, I'm past my prime. Girl. Got a long life ahead of you.
Annalise and Kenny wrestle and then make out.
I like that they're friends and that he's keeping her around giving her a rose, but I'm just not like falling for their love story.
No, it's not really love story. And then we get to David giving Jenna a dog.
I thought there was gonna be a little more of Jordan like finding out about it and then getting mad about it and then coming in and murdering the dog, but it was no, just comes Jordan to murder the dog. He was a toddler. This was the moment that I started to dislike Jordan, and I love Jordan overall. Until this episode, you are a child. You can behave better than this. He murdered the dog. Someone tried to save it, who was Annalise. And they said it was super heavy because it was soaking wet. He started calling everyone names. He told Chelsea she stinks. He called Jubilee Jubileen. He just like went on a tirade, and it was bad.
Yeah, it was really disappointing.
He was a threatening boyfriend. Ugh, he was so possessive and bad. Ugh. We had Annalise confront Jordan about his sexism.
Right.
It wasn't quite sexism, I don't think. I think it was just him being a jerk, and then the people that he happened to be a jerk to were women.
Rose ceremony.
The couples as they stand with the roses at the moment. Jordan and Jenna. She said that if he offered her a rose, she wasn't really sure she was going to accept it because she didn't like the behavior he was doing that night. And she thought that accepting the rose would be like forgiving him and telling him it was okay? But she accepted the rose anyway, even though she was still mad at him. David and Chelsea.
We still have yet to see them interact at all.
Kevin and Astrid. Eat your sausage. Chris and Crystal.
What is there to say anymore?
She can do that. John and Jubilee. He chose Jubilee.
Yeah, poor Caroline. But they were really, Jubilee and John, they're
I like them. They're smart. Joe and Kendall. At the moment, going strong.
at the moment.
Colton and Tia.
Wow, who knew that was gonna happen?
Eric and Angela.
We still have yet to see them interact either, but apparently they're together.
Like, no screen time. But, like, a little more than Nisha, who didn't get a rose tonight. Bye, Nisha. Didn't get any screen time. And lastly, Kenny and Annalise. Great. Caroline, Nisha, Jacqueline, and Bibiana.
Bye. On to episode 5. Here comes Leo.
Listen, Leo season is over. It's Virgo season. But we're both Leos. We were thriving during Leo season, but it's over now. And yet, in comes another Leo. Hurricane Leo on his way.
Leo.
They kept calling him all the like masculine things. He's a man's man. He's Fabio. An alpha. He's an alpha. And also wearing a SpongeBob shirt. Tell me I'm wrong. It was pink with pineapples on it.
Leo gets a date card, and he asks Kendall. And Grocery Store Joe is really torn up about it. He's really upset because he was all in for Kendall. They were so good together. And then Kendall said yes to Leo. So they go on their date. I just wrote down a really bad romance reenactment with white people. They have this really ridiculous date where some guy comes up to them and is like, hey, will you be on the cover of my romance novel? And they're like, yeah! And then there's a really bad reenactment of this Spanish love story, like telenovela romance type novel with white people. It was Ari and Lauren, our least favorite people, but they told us they was going to be our most favorite people.
Yeah, Chris Harrison doesn't understand who our favorite people are. He's like, get ready for your favorite people. And then it was Ari and Lauren.
And then Ben Higgins was there. Yes, his actions were wrong.
I still love it.
And then there's, what's her name?
Amanda.
To know. That whole reenactment sequence thing, that skit situation, that was really awkward and weird, and I'm not really totally sure why they put that in there, other than to be like, here's Ari and Lauren, and all of us were like, we don't want to see Ari and Lauren. No one wants to see them. And then Kendall, then after the date, they kiss on the beach, surprise, surprise, but then Kendall's really confused because she thinks that she might not be in Joe anymore.
I think she still is. She just thinks Leo is like more compatible with her because Joe lives in Chicago and runs a grocery store. Kendall lives in Los Angeles and
Collects
taxidermy. Leo also lives in Los Angeles. So for Kendall, like the more realistic relationship would be like, oh, this stunt guy who lives in Los Angeles that's very much similar to me in personality, lives geographically close to me. This is a more realistic relationship option for me other than this like guy who I don't have a lot in common with from Chicago. But Kendall, follow your heart. Don't go with the safe, sensible choice.
Joe was really sad and it was really hard to watch.
It was.
He really likes Kendall.
He does. And it was sad because Kendall, you could tell, was like, you could date other people too. And Joe's like, that's not what I want to hear. At this point, I don't think Kendall was expecting Leo to be faithful to her. Like, I think Kendall's kind of like, everyone can be in an open relationship and I'm not really upset about that, even though Joe really wants to be monogamous with her. Anyway, Leo comes back and then immediately goes to the hot tub with Chelsea. Like, sure, you can be open to your options, but you just went straight to the hot tub after having this amazing date with Kendall where you said you wanted to kiss her in Guam at some point. What does that mean? Immediately went to the hot tub with Chelsea. But at the time, my thoughts weren't like, oh, Leo. My thoughts were, yes, Chelsea, give yourself a plot line. She doesn't have a plot line, and I want her to have one. Tia and Colton went on their date.
Yes.
He was like, I'm finally going to take Tia on a date. Oh, and she wanted him to ask her to be his girlfriend. So they go on their date.
Sorry. And Raven and
Raven and Adam showed up, and I love them. Raven is great, and I loved what she said to Tia. Being a good friend. Being a great friend. She basically was like, I don't trust Colton. And I was like, me too. And kind of seemed like he's going for the it girl. I was like, that's totally correct. And then Tia's like, this is my worst nightmare. I can't believe my friend's saying this to me, but this is what everyone's saying to you, Tia. And then finally she convinces her that, like, but I actually really like Colton. And Raven's like, okay, if you like him, you can date him. But she said my favorite quote of the episode.
It was so good.
She said to her, I will support you no matter what, but if this ends badly, I will cut his penis off and he can't ever lose that virginity. What a supportive friend! Love her. That's what you gotta say to your friends. You gotta say, like, you can choose the guy. Know that I'm telling you he's bad news now.
Bad news bears.
But I'm still always on your team, and if he breaks your heart, know that I will murder him or cut his penis off, as a good friend should.
And then Colton asks Tia to be his girlfriend, and she, wait for it, says yes. They're officially boyfriend and girlfriend on Bachelor in Paradise. Again, they've been here for 3 days. Just
last episode, literally, like, I think yesterday, he was like, I don't know if I want to date her. I kind of want to keep my options open. And now they seem so in love. Like,
they play the whole, like, flashback of all their great memories from that one date they had.
Yeah.
It was magic. I went on the journey. They went on the journey. We all went on the journey.
Oh, the journey that lasted 2 days.
And then here comes Benoit.
Benoit!
We love Benoit.
I didn't know that he and Claire broke up. It made me sad.
I didn't watch the rest of Winter Games, but
it was cute. Flirted with Claire a lot, and she really liked him, so they kissed. And then she went and made out with someone else who I don't even remember, and he got really upset. She chose someone else, and he left Winter Games. And everyone was kind of like, "Oh, Benoit, he was actually really sweet to her." And then they came on the reunion thing, and he proposed like they had been dating in secret after the show ended. It was so sweet. And everyone was like, yes, Benoit and Claire, but no more
Paradise.
Which he said, this has worked for me twice, which means it's worked for you 0 times. Because you're not with us.
Okay, well, Benoit comes in, and obviously, like us, all of the women love Benoit. Because he's French, but also he's really great and nice.
I think Jordan calls him Jean Blanc 2.0. I think that's just the only French-sounding name that Jordan's ever heard other than Benoit.
Crystal and Benoit talk about jorts. He doesn't know what jorts are, but she sure does.
He went on a date
with Jenna. Jenna says yes to the date, and Jordan is not happy about it.
Jordan's very threatened, even though he says that he's not threatened. But their date seems to go very well. They make out a lot. She wears a dark red lipstick that ends up all over Benoit's face.
It's really cute.
Even though when they cut back to her, it looks the same. It has not been, her face looks normal.
So Jordan's mad, and he says he speaks the language of love, quote, right from his mouth.
His quotes this episode, they were all over the place. He said at one point, bring her home to daddy. She's got a curfew. Jordan, no! No! You don't say that.
He writes, I'm sorry on the beach.
Like it was a big, grand, romantic gesture.
Yes, I'm gonna do this thing. And then he writes, I'm sorry, really big on the sand. And he's like, Jenna, look at this. It says, I'm sorry. It's the biggest apology I've ever given. He was like, I never apologize. But I apologize to you.
He said some really sweet things at the end, like, there's only one Jenna. But also, you're the worst this episode, Jordan.
So that's kind of how we left off. And then we got this cute little clip of John telling dad jokes.
Did you hear about the restaurant on the moon?
No.
Great food, no atmosphere.
That's what you missed on this week's Bachelor in Paradise.
Will you accept my rose?
What rose?
My metaphorical friendship rose.
Oh, that was good.